Did you know there was a time when one man took on hundreds of false prophets and proved the power of God in an epic showdown? Stop scrolling because you don't want to miss this story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal, a tale that will leave you speechless. It was a time of great turmoil in the ancient land of Israel. The wicked king Ahab and Queen Jezebel had turned away from God's covenant, leading the people astray to worship the false god, Baal. The land was parched. Years of drought left the rivers dry and the fields barren. The people were desperate, crying out to Baal for relief, but none came. Then God sent the prophet Elijah. Elijah was a man of bold faith, chosen by God to challenge the people's wavering allegiance. His mission? To turn their hearts back to the one true God. God told Elijah to confront King Ahab, and so he did. With unwavering courage, Elijah stood before the king and said, "Summon all of Israel to Mount Carmel. Bring the 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. Today, we will determine once and for all who is the true God." Everyone gathered at Mount Carmel for what would become one of the most dramatic moments in biblical history. The sun burned brightly over the rugged mountaintop as Elijah faced the multitude. The prophets of Baal wore ornate robes and stood in a haughty assembly, their confidence seemingly unshaken. Elijah, on the other hand, stood alone. But he wasn't really alone. He had the power of the Almighty behind him. Addressing the crowd, Elijah raised his voice. "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." The people remained silent, unsure of where to put their faith. Elijah proposed a challenge, a test of faith, but more importantly, a demonstration of divine power. "Let the prophets of Baal choose one bull, and I will take the other," Elijah said. "We will prepare the sacrifices, but will not set fire to them. Then we will each call upon the name of our God, the God who answers by fire. He is God." The crowd murmured in agreement. The prophets of Baal went first. They built their altar with precision, carefully arranging the wood and placing the bull on top. They began to call upon Baal, shouting his name and dancing fervently around the altar. Hours passed, yet there was no answer, only silence. At noon, Elijah couldn't suppress a smirk and began to taunt them. "Shout louder," he said. "Perhaps he is deep in thought, or busy, or traveling. Maybe he is sleeping and must be awakened." Enraged, the prophets of Baal shouted even louder and slashed themselves with swords and spears until their blood flowed, an act they believed might compel Baal to respond. But despite their cries and desperate actions, there was no answer, no fire, nothing. Now it was Elijah's turn. With quiet confidence, he repaired the altar of the Lord that had been torn down. He took 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel, and rebuilt it in the name of the Lord. Then he dug a trench around the altar, piled wood on top, and placed the bull on it. But Elijah wasn't done yet. He decided to raise the stakes. "Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it over the offering and the wood," he commanded. The people obeyed, soaking the sacrificial altar. "Do it again," Elijah said, and they poured more water over it. "Do it a 3rd time," he instructed, and by now, water was running down the altar and filling the trench. Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel and that I am your servant. Answer me, Lord, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." The moment seemed to hang in silence. Then suddenly, fire fell from heaven, blazing, consuming fire. It devoured the offering, the wood, the stones, and even licked up the water in the trench. The crowd gasped, stunned into silence, before falling to their knees and crying out, "The Lord, He is God! "The Lord, He is God!" Elijah, filled with righteous indignation, ordered the false prophets of Baal to be seized and brought down to the Kishon Valley, where they were put to death as a judgment for leading the people astray. This victory was not just Elijah's, it was a confirmation of God's sovereignty over all. But Elijah's work was not yet finished. He climbed to the top of Mount Carmel and bowed low in prayer, asking God to end the drought. 7 times he sent his servant to look toward the sea. "I see a cloud," the servant finally reported, "as small as a man's hand, rising from the sea." Elijah stood and said, "Go tell Ahab to hitch his chariot and go down before the rain stops him." The sky grew black with clouds, the wind rose, and a heavy rain began to fall, a rain that cleansed the land and marked a new beginning for the people of Israel. Elijah's faith and God's power had turned the hearts of a nation back to him. So, what does this story mean for us today? It's a powerful reminder that faith requires boldness. Just as Elijah stood in the face of overwhelming odds, we too are called to trust in God, even when the world seems against us. It also serves as a cautionary tale against placing our faith in false idols, whether they are physical objects, people, or even ideas. The story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal challenges us to ask, where is our faith? Are we prepared to stand boldly for God, even when others do not? And perhaps most importantly, do we believe in the power of God to answer when we call on Him? This account from Mount Carmel is more than a historical event. It's an invitation to live a life of fearless faith. So, what do you think? Would you have had the courage to do what Elijah did? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and share this video to inspire others in their faith journey. Remember, the Lord, He is God. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Bible series.